Hi and welcome back to another Excel video, and this one is a quick reply to Mike Gervin from ExcelIsFun, and yeah, that's him down there. So if I hover over that, you'll see Mike. There he is. Now he's looking at how you can find whether one of these criteria is contained within the job title here. Looked at a variety of different ways of doing it. I'm going to suggest a slightly different way, and you'll see why I've suggested this way in a minute. So what we've got here is we're going to look for any of these criteria within each of these cells going down. So we're going to talk about them. Because we're going to copy this, we need to make sure that's locked, and we actually want the conditional formatting to run across the entire row, so we're going to apply it to every single cell here. So we need to make sure that's locked as well, but only in the column. So we're going to start off with the search function, so equals search. What are we going to be looking for? We're going to be looking for any of those things there and F4 to lock. Within the text, for that cell there, and F4 3 times to lock it in the column. So now if I just close the brackets, Control Shift Enter, it gives me a result. Now this particular cell is giving me the result for saying it's found the word data at the point 12. In other words, it started at the 12th character. But if I fill this down, you'd expect some of these to be found because analytics it should have found. Actually, it has found it, but it cannot display it in this cell because even though we did Control Shift Enter, and you'll see there the curly brackets which indicate that this is an array, I can't demonstrate an array in a cell. I can only show the first of the values. So these value errors are basically saying it didn't find the word data. In other words, it didn't find the first instance of the thing in my array. Yeah. If I simply type in here data, you'll see that that now does give me a result. It finds the first thing at the first character. So it is actually working. It's just not displaying as we'd expect, or not displaying as we might expect, but it is displaying as we should expect. So what we could do here is we could change it so that those errors don't appear as value errors, but they just appear as a number. So I'm just going to do that with an if error. So if error in that search function, then give me a 0. And again, Control Shift Enter to put it in. And this time, those value errors are now coming up as zeros. But we do know that these still contain an array within there. So although some of these might be zeros, when I come down to this one, the first thing is a 0, but the second thing will be a number. And we can demonstrate that by doing F9 in here as we cycle through. So if I do F9 there, you'll see there's the array, so it's the second thing that has the number in it. So Control Z to come back out of that, and let's have a look and see what we can do with that. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to find out if any of these have been found. So another way of looking at that is if all of these have not been found. So if all of these have not been found, all of these will be zeros right the way through. In other words, if I added them all together, they would all be zeros. So what I'm going to do is up here, I'm just going to say sum. So if I simply add all these things in the array together, again Control Shift Enter, and now this time, yeah, when I fill this up and down, you'll see that one is now coming up as a value. Yeah, that's now found the second instance. So effectively, any of these that are not 0 are true, and that's exactly how we could use that formula as it is in the conditional formatting. However, I want to change it slightly. What I've done here is I've put in a criteria. So this is just a drop-down box, and this is saying an and or an or criteria. And I'm just going to change this up slightly, just to make it slightly simpler. So in fact, I'm going to delete all of, in fact, I'll leave them there. But I'm going to change this function here. So where I've got the search for finding the text, I'm only going to look at the first 2 here. And I'm just going to grey these out so we know that we're no longer looking at them. Yeah, so we're only looking at those first 2 criteria now. That's still fine. That's the sum is still working as OR criteria. Yeah. But what I could do is I could say, let's take all of that, and what about if it's an AND criteria? What if that said and, what we could do there, instead of the word sum, we could use product. And again, Control-Shift-Enter. And now at the moment, that doesn't find data and analytics. But I could always change this. And now it does find data and analytics in the same cell. And therefore it gives me the product of where it finds those two things. Now, as it was before, if it doesn't find both of them, it gives me a 0. If it does find both of them, it gives me the number. With the OR, if it found one or the other, then it will give me a positive number. If it finds none of them, it gives me a 0. So all we need to do now is build this here into our function. So I'm just going to change that back to sum, and I'm just going to copy this for later on, just because that's quite useful. And before there, I'm going to do an if, and my if is going to be if that particular cell there, and I do need to lock that cell, so if that particular cell equals, and let's make this OR, then do the sum function. Yep, so at the end of that sum function we do a comma, and this is the value of false. So now I'm going to do another if. So if that cell there, again, which is locked, equals and, then, and here's why I copied that, so I just paste it in, but this time we're going to do product, and this value of false, now I'm going to put, I'll just put 0, and close my brackets a couple of times at the end, Control-Shift-Enter. Now it changes depending on whether I have selected an AND criteria or an OR criteria. Now let's just test this on a few going down. With the OR criteria selected, that one is coming up, giving me, because it's found the analytics. But if I change that to AND, you'll see it's now returning a 0 because it's not found analytics and data. So it's using my AND criteria here. So I can take whatever's in here in its entirety and copy it. I can now press escape, come back over here, do Control-Shift right down, and then Control backspace just to get back there. Go into my conditional formatting, new rule, I'm going to use the formula, paste it in, and I'm just going to highlight them in funky yellow. It's only found the one with the AND. If I change that to OR, it's now found multiples of data or analytics, and don't forget we had just simplified them so that the AND would actually give us some results, because otherwise AND none of them would have returned a true value. There you go, Mike. I hope you find that as an interesting alternative and a reason why, so that you can have the AND or the OR. And thank you for listening.